Hi, my name is Cliff Lampe. I'm a professor at the School of Information here at the University of Michigan. My research area is in social media. Today I'm going to talk to you about what is the intersection between social media and misinformation. We've had misinformation for as long as we've had media, basically. As long as people have been able to manipulate the media, they've been trying to use it for their own ends to shape the beliefs of others. So what is it about social media that makes this any different than yellow journalism 100 years ago, or the wars between Jefferson and Adams 100 years before that? What is it about this new technology that matters? I'm going to talk about three things that I think really matter in terms of social media. The first one is that social media is not just a platform where you're pushing stuff out, it's also constantly collecting things about you. Now that's intended to enable the social media platforms to provide you with better targeted ads, right? So it's an advertising mechanism. Shoshana Zuboff of Harvard University calls this surveillance capitalism. The platforms surveil your life so that they can sell you more things because all of their incentives are around selling ads. If you look at Twitter or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, they all make the majority of their money through ad sales. And so I think if we were going to give them a lot of credit, we could say that what they're trying to do is collect information about you to provide you with more meaningful, better targeted ads so you don't see ads for things you don't care about at all. Now the problem becomes is that bad actors can use that micro-targeting to then target certain types of people and able to really persuade them. So you can find people who really believe a certain thing based off their shared interests, create sophisticated computer models about who can be dissuaded from voting or who's going to believe a conspiracy theory, and really target those folks with your message. All political campaigns are really using this micro-targeting strategy to big effect right now. When you look at the big presidential campaigns, what they're doing is they're running what we call A/B testing. They're running mini experiments using these micro-targeting mechanisms and then using that to determine which picture do you like most, which message do you like most, which message will get you to donate more money, which is most likely to get you to share the video. All of these are mechanisms that ad campaigns are now using to kind of suborn the ability of the platforms to sell ads, right? So they're selling ads too, of course, in a way, and what they're trying to do is to get those people who are going to be most swayed by those ads. The second thing that I think the reason social media plays a role in here is because of it wasn't intended for political discourse, right? Social media was originally invented in an era where it was mostly being used to share personal stories in our personal lives. And for many people, they prefer that it was still that way. If you look at Facebook, for instance, the reaction buttons around Facebook are all things like, love, hug, sad, laugh, right? None of those kind of emotional reactions are things that we would typically see in political discourse, or at least would think were positive in political discourse. So when we look at Facebook as a mechanism, especially for sharing information, it was designed for us to share personal information. Sharing political information triggers a different part of our brain. So that emotional part of our brain is great, it's powerful, we need it every day, but it also kind of short circuits critical thinking a lot of times. If we can feel a strong emotional reaction about something, that will swamp out our more analytical reasoning side of our brain. This is this two-stage thinking model that psychologists talk about, right? So if we think quickly and emotionally, that can often swamp out the slower, more analytical thought process. That might think like, wait, maybe Pizzagate isn't true, or maybe that we did land on the moon. Raising these emotional responses triggers a different part of our brain, and that's why social media is so powerful for people interested in misinformation, because built into it is this short circuit around our analytical reasoning parts of our mind. The third reason why I think social media plays a huge role in this is because it's multi-source content. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, if you look even within Facebook, a bad actor or somebody who's trying to manipulate your viewpoint can create multiple groups with different identities. So you never know exactly where information is coming from and who is behind that information. Even beyond one single platform like Facebook, it's really easy for people to set up a Twitter account, an Instagram account, a Gab account, and have them all working together to create an information environment that's intended to persuade you, deceive you, or manipulate you in some way. All of these together make it very hard for platforms to fight against that, as we'll talk about in another segment. So when we look at what is the role of social media, let's talk about those three things again, right? We're talking about micro-targeting of information, we're talking about emotional responses that short circuit rational thinking, and we're talking about the ability of people to use the multivariate aspects of the platform to send information from all sides. Thanks very much, and I appreciate you listening.